Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 150th episode of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for
Yes.
listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news, as well as what we watched or played over the week. My name is Barry, along with my co hosts.
My name is Craig. I am 150 years old. Nice to meet you.
My name is also Craig. It was kind of nice to get the little Facebook memory yesterday of the 3-year anniversary of our podcast. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Been a long time.
Yeah, 3 years. Part of me can't, believe we've been doing it for as long as we have, but
Mhm.
what's always been here and is always with us, it's the news. For the
3 years straight.
probably
3 years straight.
150th time. We're going to
Yep.
talk about the news. So overall, it's not a huge week for news. It was kind of straining for some. So for example, we got Cyberpunk and Attack on Titan in Fortnite.
Mhm.
This pretty much coming off the second to last episode, I guess, of Attack on Titan. If you haven't watched it, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But Fortnite just continues to come out with cool collaborations and how when they did, I guess, Dragon Ball, they did like the Kamehameha. They added
Mhm.
like the ODM
Mm-hmm.
gear from Attack on Titan where they kind of just fly around.
Oh,
So
sick.
it at
I
least
love
looks
that.
cool. I think you could definitely
Yeah.
make some cool clips that I'll be willing to watch with it. But if I played Fortnite, this would definitely be up my alley.
And Fortnite's the non-build mode is so good.
It
I'm not,
is.
I'm not ashamed to say that.
It is. That's why I got back into Fortnite. I don't play it all the time, but my wife and I play it with friends, and we started when the no build came back.
Yeah. And
Definitely.
to tie into that too, I don't know if you had this written down or not, Barry, but to tie into tie-ins, Shredder from Ninja Turtles is coming to Warzone, Call of
Yep.
Duty. How crazy is
Yep.
that?
I
Yeah,
think that's
that's
a cool
good.
skin.
So random.
It kind of makes sense with like the theme that they're going for this season. So
Right.
I'm cool with it as well. But I'm going to talk about a bit more about Apex Legends next week, so be on the look for that because things are
Sweet.
changing
Ooh.
in Apex Legends.
Yeah.
So
Ooh. I'll be
big up.
tuning in.
It's about
Yeah,
time to jump back in, I think. It's been a
yeah,
while.
it's exactly what
Yeah.
I've been thinking too. Next
Yep.
up is the Resident Evil 4 remake demo is out. Capcom did a whole thing where they were talking about the new Street Fighter and Resident Evil 4 remake. Reports have already come out. It looks like the remake is going to run better on the PS5. So if that matters to you, you're either looking at the Series X or the PS5 version. Seems like if you have a choice, go with the PS5 version. So it kind of makes sense that Sony's been like almost having like a deal with Capcom here for a lot of their stuff, but things just need to be running
Yep.
better on PlayStation, and maybe that's just because they have one type of console where if you're on Xbox, you have to optimize a game for two different consoles. Maybe that's something to a deep dive for me to get into, but
Yeah.
download it. I need to play it still. It won't be in my games of this week, but I will
Yep.
be playing it eventually.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll hold off because I have that as my one of the things I played this week, so I'll go into it later.
Oh, okay.
Next up for me is did you guys see the Gollum trailer? Did you guys I've
Yes.
totally forgot about this game. Because it
Craig
was
did.
supposed
It
to
was
come
on
So
his
out.
did I.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It
to
was
be
game of the year
fair,
for me last year.
I
Yeah.
didn't hate the trailer. I actually think they're trying to do something a little bit cooler with this game. I think it seems as though they're trying to make
Maybe.
Gollum not a piece of crap.
Maybe.
It's going to be a
Yeah.
very experimental game, at least in my eyes. So we have to see how
Mhm.
it plays out. But if they said it was coming out 2023, we'll have to see if that's actually the case because it was supposed to come out last year. So for Gollum,
Yeah.
more Lord of the Rings is a cool thing. I like Lord of the Rings.
I mean, I hear they're adding like a bunch of Lord of the Ring games on the horizon. They're just going to try to I think they're doing like a Silent Hill thing where they're just making like 85 games like under the same like umbrella, so to speak. So this should be like the first of many is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a game from that trailer, that's for sure.
It looked like a video game.
Yeah.
It looked like a
Suicide Squad was delayed again, and according to a report from Bloomsburg, it actually has to do with the fan backlash of it being a live
Yes.
service game. So, take with that what you will. Those of you who are not looking forward to the game, looks like you guys, Craig over here is like, yeah, I win. I'm finally
I
I'm
did it.
finally the
I
winner.
did it.
So we'll have to see how they change it within the time limit that they have to get this game out. But I guess maybe they decide to go for something more of like a Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm hoping that's what they're trying to do with it instead
That's what
of
they should do.
making it a live service.
Yeah, I didn't see a date. Did they say a date? It kind of seemed like
No
it was
date.
kind of
No.
like well,
date.
and that makes me think that they're going to be doing a decent amount of changes then.
Yeah, 2024, calling it.
Oh yeah, it's going to get delayed again.
Yeah,
That's
It's a
fine
big
if they get
delay.
rid of all the live service stuff, which they don't need. I'm all for waiting till next year. That's fine.
and we know how we all feel about delays on this podcast. Save a couple of games. It's just like, thank you so much. Give me time to play what I'm playing.
Yep.
And lastly, on my end, is in today's news of Nintendo does weird stuff in honor of the final trailer of Mario, the movie. They've decided to show off Mario's shoes at a Nintendo store. There's a picture of it in like a glass case. I don't know. And it's like it's funny because like people are like, oh my god, it's Nintendo shoes, and it's like it makes me think I'm not the weirdest Nintendo fanboy sometimes because there are people lining up to take pictures with these size 4 Mario shoes.
Right. Let me ask you this though. It was weird. It was very weird. But if they were like to theoretically be like, we're going to be selling next week Sora shoes, you would buy those.
Sora shoes? No, I can't. There's no way I can buy those.
You would buy them and display them.
Now, Kyrie shoes, yes. Yes.
What kind of
But
person
that
do you
or
think I am?
Riku shoes, yes. Yes.
You
If they were
would
Riku
be
shoes.
there day one to
If
buy
there were
those
Riku
things.
shoes, yes.
Yeah. You would. You would put
Look,
them in a glass case.
Look, I get it. I'm the Kingdom Hearts fanboy of the podcast. But first off, his shoes are clown shoes. Second off,
They are.
they're gonna like
They
Square
are.
Enix would charge a ridiculous amount for it. Like I wouldn't be able to buy it because it'd be super expensive. And on top of that too, I'm just not a shoe guy. You guys know that about me. I'm not a shoe guy.
Yeah.
What about his gloves
I'm also not a glove guy.
or his leather jacket? What about his leather jacket?
Okay. Now we're starting to get somewhere. But if there were
Yeah.
okay, maybe it's leather jacket. All right. Jacket, but that
I
found
I
it.
heard go ahead.
Go ahead.
no, I gotta hear
I
it.
was
No,
going to
come
say
on,
I
tell
was
me,
looking
come on.
through I was looking through my news, and there was a recent update that Barry recently asked the landlord of his development to change his access to his apartment to a keyblade. I don't have much on it. It's a recent one. Apparently, more development is going to happen soon, so we'll keep you guys updated.
Look, there's only one true Keyblade wielder, so at least in my eyes, like it's a lot more secure if I went with a Keyblade instead of a regular key. So
Fair. And you already have a keyblade, so you'd be all
I
set.
do. Yeah.
True.
They just need to change the locks. I'm just waiting for that part.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
you
it
don't
for
actually
news.
put it in the lock anyway. You just point it at it if you're going by the game.
You do. You
Yeah.
do.
And I do, and a little light beam shoots out and unlocks the door for me.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That is a cool way to unlock something.
Yeah.
All right.
Joke's on you. You're trying to make fun of me, and I made it cool.
Yeah.
All right. I have a couple things here for news. It's not a huge week for news, obviously, but we got a date for Exoprimal, July 14th. That is also a game that looks like a game, and that'll also be coming on Game Pass. I don't know how I feel about this game yet. It seems weird, possibly interesting. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I'm a little intrigued.
Dinosaurs and mech, like, I don't know, exoprimal suits. I don't know.
Yeah, that game had like
Who
a weird
knows?
trailer, so I have no clue what
Yeah.
to think of this game.
Isn't
I have a
isn't
feeling
it,
it's not
Game
gonna be
Pass?
very good. Yeah, it's going to be Game Pass day one. It's already up on there. I think you can pre-install if you want to pre-install way ahead of time. No reason to do that, but yeah, I mean, I'll at least try it since I don't have to buy it for sure.
Yeah, true.
It could be a good, multiplayer game with your friends, possibly.
Yeah. Little fun, mindless shooter, maybe with your friends. But
Yeah.
it's going to be a live service
Yeah.
game. They aren't going to delay it for that.
No, they won't.
No.
All right, next one I got. You know what? We haven't done in a while. Let's go back into the world of Microsoft versus Sony. I like that. Everybody
Let's
loves
do it.
that every week.
Let's get into it.
I just specifically wanted to comment on some of the things that were said by Sony this week that made me chuckle. Specifically,
Oh,
the Sony is afraid that Microsoft will intentionally make the Sony versions of Call of Duty buggy. Oh, okay. What? That was a new one for me. And then also saying that they didn't care about a deal with Microsoft over Call of Duty. They just wanted to block their purchase. Not the best look. The buggy thing to me is just hilarious. When has that ever happened anywhere with any company? Sony's never done that to Microsoft to my knowledge.
No, that's
Yeah,
petty though. That's a very petty statement.
Yeah, it's a weird thing considering, like, this kind of all has started with, and this is something that still gets me a little bit, but like the fact that MLB The Show, which was a PlayStation exclusive game, is like, it's on Xbox, which is good, but like Xbox players have been able to get it for free for the last 3 years. So it's just like, why can't it just be, okay, Xbox can get MLB and Sony can like also have COD? Like, what's the big deal? Like, I just wish everybody could play nice, but that's not how things work.
I mean, that's on top of what we've already said before. Microsoft already offered Sony to put it on PlayStation Plus day one, Call of Duty, along with putting it on Game Pass day one, and they want nothing to do with that, which I don't understand why you would be against that. If it was, the option was either, which would never happen, but if the option was you don't get Call of Duty or we allow you to put it on your PlayStation Plus day one, why would you not want that? It's just so weird to me that they're so against everything that has to do with this Activision merger, purchase, whatever.
Yeah, it's really showing like a real negative side of the game, and it's not even politics at this point. I mean, we've compared it to two like 7-year-olds fighting over a toy, like, and they just continue to show their 7-year-oldism, like specifically Sony, in particular. So I don't know. It's not professional. It's not at all.
No. And then the last one I have, some more angry. Angry. I'm gonna go with angry news on this one for sure. Let's go back to GameStop, and specifically, I want to talk about these Resident Evil 4 Collector's Edition pre-orders. Basically, what happened, for those who don't know, is everybody who pre-ordered the Collector's Edition of Resident Evil 4 on their website, they all got canceled, and now everybody who pre-ordered in store, their Collector's Editions got canceled as well. I was, kind of going through the GameStop subreddit today, and it was interesting seeing like all the employees as well being like, yeah, mine got canceled too. So at this point, it seems like they just canceled all of them, like every single one. So maybe they're not getting any. I don't know what the deal is, but like, just another bad look. We've already, I've personally, shown my issues with trying to pre-order things through GameStop, and having a ton of issues. So I'm assuming it's just a lack of stock on their part, but I haven't seen any other retailers canceling pre-orders yet. Have you, like Amazon or Best Buy or anybody? It's just GameStop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's going on, but just, I'm going to say another nail in the coffin for GameStop.
Yeah, but how many nails can there be?
Yeah, that's
right.
That's where I'm thinking too, Barry. Like, can we look back? When has GameStop had a good look? Let's think.
Right.
Let's think for a second.
Yeah, what's funny is like, I'm reading all this stuff. Like today I was reading some more stuff, and I'm sitting there doing like the nervous look because I have my in-store pre-order for Tuesday for WWE. I'm just like waiting for the call to be like, we didn't get it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just waiting, crossing my fingers that doesn't happen, but I wouldn't be surprised at this point if, I either don't hear anything on Tuesday or get a call saying, yeah, we didn't get it. So I guess it's safe to say at this point, just don't pre-order from GameStop. Maybe.
Coming from
I
someone
don't
Yeah,
who
want to
pre-ordered from
totally write them
GameStop
off.
today.
Huh? Oh,
I
did you?
pre-ordered from them today. I went to go get the Resident Evil 4 demo remake pre-ordered.
Oh,
So just the
just a
regular one.
regular one, not the
Yeah,
collectors.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I don't want to like completely write them off because um I've had nothing but good interactions with local stores. It's just the corporate version is terrible. And as like a kind of something to throw out there, like don't throw your hate at the local employees either, because it's not their fault. If you
oh
get a
yeah, of
call
course.
saying that your collector's edition is canceled, like don't take it out on them. They're just as annoyed as you are. And I'm more than happy to support my local GameStop store, but like, man, when you expect something that you pre-ordered a while ago and it just, a week or two before it comes out, you find out you're not getting it, it's just a bad feeling.
Yeah, that's an interesting contrast because that has to be the growing theme with everybody. Well, without not everybody, you can't never say everybody, but with a lot of people with GameStop, like how many of us have positive experiences with a local GameStop, but then experiences like the Resident Evil 4 Collector's Edition example, or let's just say many examples,
Yeah.
within the last like couple of years. So it's weird. It's like you want to support the paychecks of the nearby people that who have accurately given you a good game recommendation or have shown nothing but upscale customer service. But you know most of us have become less of an in-store consumer anyway, so it's kind of hard to support one when you're getting like a bad example from the other, especially because like I know I go in the store less. I will go in the store less to do any type of pre-ordering scenario or purchasing scenario. But, I don't know. It's again like another nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Like
I
it's
I
unfortunate.
haven't, like, I stopped going in most stores for pre-ordering for a long time, but because of my issues with the Hogwarts Legacy, where I didn't get it until pretty much a week later, that's when I was like, all right, I had my pre-order for WWE online, and after that I canceled it and just went right into the store. That's the first time I've been into a GameStop in probably 6 months, if not longer. And like, I'm happy to go in there and do that as long as that's going to guarantee that I'm going to get it that day. But if I get burned on an
Mhm.
in-store one, then I'm probably going to be done altogether, I think.
And that's fair.
Yeah. Digital.
Yeah,
Are we all going digital?
no.
Yeah.
No. Not digital, but I guess for me kind of the next step in their lifespan would be to almost go like the way of a cartridges galore or something like that if people don't know what
Mhm.
that is. But almost like you're
Yep.
independent. Like you take almost like how Chick-fil-A stores work where you have the brand name and all of the ingredients of food and stuff, but you own that store. So a
Yep.
part of me wonders when does GameStop finally just go, okay, you can pay for the name and pay for everything like that, but you own the store that you're in. Because there's definitely places where GameStop will always like get business, especially like for example where we live. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'd hate for those people to be out of the job, and if they were able to manage their own store how they want to manage it, I feel like a lot of other people would be happy, whether it's them helping customers or of like the general public feeling is better because now they're supporting a true local store.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of great people that work at GameStop, because the gaming community is very dedicated. We're all nerds. 2023 and the last couple of decades have provided an ability to be proud to be a nerd, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
And to be honest, if you work in a place like Walmart or, like a Best Buy or anything like that, sometimes like if I worked in a Walmart, I would want to work in just the video game section.
Yeah. Yep.
Just that. And that's what GameStop does. It takes like an entire section and it creates a store out of it of like what essentially is your favorite, or I'm assuming a lot of people in GameStop, that is their favorite hobby,
Mhm.
So there's a lot of good people that are working for a company that's making a lot of bad mistakes
Yeah.
consistently, I might add. So
Yeah. And most of those people are leaving that company though.
Yeah.
You know, um, because of, the increased pressure to get pre-orders or, whatever else, get the pro membership, selling those. So you just see a mass exodus of people right now being like, yeah, I'm done with working at GameStop. Or the amount of times I read stuff that's like, don't ever work at a GameStop ever. It's like, okay, I get it. Like, it's just not being run well. It's like let's see how far we can wring it dry before it goes completely bankrupt at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was all I had. You have something upbeat, Craig?
I guess kinda. Yeah, a little bit
Okay.
more. Nothing crazy. I had some of the announcements that you guys already talked about. But two very, very small things is there was a recent March 8th PS5 update or PlayStation update that did allow us to finally update our PS5 controllers wirelessly for all of us who do own
Yes.
that. Which is nice. It's a very small first world problem, but I normally forget until a controller update pops in that I have to have it plugged into my PS5 in order to actually do the update, which every time I wait for the update, it does seem silly in the moment, or anytime I approach the update, it does seem silly that I have to plug it in. So it is a minor first world problem, but that is one of the highlights of the latest PS5 update besides your standard bug fixes, things like that.
And Discord.
And then
Discord was added.
and
Discord.
Discord. Sorry, and Discord. Huge. Which again for crossplay purposes and trying to find the proper audio to be able to play with your friends, crossplay is definitely a huge thing there. I know that'll benefit sometimes when I'm trying to play Call of Duty with people on Xbox, Fortnite with people on Xbox, basically anything, because I primarily get things for PlayStation 5 multiplayer. And then the last thing I had, this is kind of in tune with the Resident Evil 4 remake coming out, is that just a public service announcement. If you don't know, on the PlayStation Store, Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 3 remake are both $10 right now, leading up to it. So if you're somebody like myself who
Good deals.
who played but didn't play Resident Evil 2 and 3 a lot, or like that's like I'm jumping on that. I was actually going to buy it right before this podcast, and I set a little post-it reminder for myself because I'm 34, so I still write on post-its. So
yeah, that's a steal for those games. Those games are fantastic,
especially 2, because two's a lot bigger, a little longer.
Yeah, 3 short.
But fun. I enjoy the short ones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, next up is going to be our games for this week, in which I played the Metroid Prime Remaster, and I also finished and completed Saraisen the Lost Demon demo.
Okay. I don't even know how many times started playing through The Last of Us Part 1 again, only because my daughter, who is now obsessed with the show, was like, will you play through the game so I can watch it, because I don't want to play it. So I'm doing that. I don't have anything to say on that, but so I did play the Resident Evil 4 Chainsaw demo, and I have to talk about the Shadow Warrior series. Shadow Warrior 3 just dropped on Game Pass, so we have to talk about that series.
Craig, I have to say,
you know what? We also have Wulong. My bad.
Oh yeah, Wulong.
We talked about it last week, but you hadn't played it yet.
Yes, correct. I've got Wulong.
Okay, sweet.
Craig, I just have to say before I forget, if I was a father, I think that would warm my heart.
Yeah.
If my kid asked me to play Last of Us Part 1 so they can watch.
Yeah.
Like let's just think about that as a gamer.
It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty cool. I mean, we got, like the season finale coming up, but she was like, yeah, can you play through that and then also play through the second one? I'm like, I guess, yeah, I don't mind doing that.
Yeah.
It's an excuse to play it again. I haven't played part 2 since it came out. I know we've all been talking about wanting to play it again, but there's my excuse right there.
That's fantastic, man. It was a light week for me. I had a lot of work and such going on, so I stuck to a game that was very pleasant and just tried to get as close to beating Fire Emblem Engage as I possibly could. I
was really hoping you were going to say Soul Hackers 2.
No.
Started my 4th playthrough of Soul Hackers 2. Yeah, that's all I have this week. I got a copy. I snagged a copy of Metroid Prime, and I was literally, Barry, going to text you if I should unwrap it. I was like, should I just make this a collector's and get it digitally? I was almost willing to do that.
It seems like it's becoming available again.
Yeah, they're doing a better job. It's like kind of the same problem or issue they had with Octopath Traveler, the first one that came out. They had a little bit more of an issue of getting it out. And I guess, people did not expect, especially Nintendo, did not expect Metroid Prime Remaster to sell as well as it did. And now that it's selling as well as it has, hopefully that gets them into making or remaking 2 and 3 and then actually, putting bigger dollar signs behind 4. But
Yeah.
with that segue, I might as well talk about the Metroid
Yeah.
Prime Remaster.
Do
Metroid
it.
Prime Remaster, it's kind of funny. I remember playing it as a kid, and it's just kind of amazing how well it transfers over to the Switch. In the GameCube version, pretty much all you did was like do the lock on button, shoot and strafe and that kind of thing. Well, you could still do that here, but you just have that second joystick to actually move around and react a little bit quicker. I find that it feels more like a first person shooter now, where on the GameCube one it was a bit more frustrating. It's kind of the simple and it's the same old story and dance with Metroid where it doesn't tell you anything that's going on. You just have to read it through text, which some people aren't gonna like. But it is a enjoyably fun game. On the Switch, it looks great. I love the way it plays on Switch. And just overall, like I'm just so happy to see like people playing this because it deserves to be played. Like people haven't played this since the GameCube version came out years ago, and
Mhm.
like Metroid Prime, especially with the hype that it got from Dread, I feel like definitely helped this out a bit more. And this is more of that Metroid, but just in first person, so you're a little bit more engrossed in it. I want to say, it's not just a 2D side scroller where like you're controlling, in Metroid Dread is how that one works. So just overall, like it looks good. I just really hope that this gets Nintendo to start doing more with this series because it's showing that people are willing to buy it and willing to play it. But now Nintendo needs to be the one who comes out and is like, okay, let's support it. Let's get to the next portion and let's get you what you want. So the lights look good and the future looks bright for Metroid, but I just don't know if Nintendo's going to put their time in it because overall, just the Metroid Prime Remastered is a very solid Switch title. You should have this game if you have a Switch and you're okay with first person shooters like on Switch. Because I get it, some people don't use the Switch for that, but it's a Nintendo exclusive that no one else has.
Is it going to be a contender for you for best remaster?
Yeah, for
Ooh.
sure.
I mean, I think it's still like for me, Dead Space is still sitting there.
Yeah.
As like
Yeah.
top of the top, and we have Resident Evil 4 coming, but like, do you think that can compete with those ones?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm going to. It intrigues me. I never played it, so
Yeah, neither have I. That's why I'm also excited to start it for that reason.
yeah. I never
Yeah,
had a
I'm like
GameCube. I wasn't
I'm
privileged.
easily the farthest I ever have been in the game.
Okay.
That is for me, it's that and Wind Waker as the two games that I never played that I wanted to play the most Nintendo wise. Like I just skipped and missed that section
Mm-hmm.
of Nintendo. So I'm like really excited. So
It's fair.
You just need a Wii U.
Good luck.
yeah.
And
You
lastly,
get-
I'll talk about the Bayonetta Origins and Cereza and the Lost Demon demo. It kind of came out as a surprise for me, but I saw it. I'm kind of excited for this game, so I had to download it. Demo is the opening couple chapters here. You get to a certain cutscene and then it cuts you off. It is, first off, not a Bayonetta game. This is much different. Different type of control layout and puzzle solving. So one joystick controls Cereza, the other joystick controls Cheshire. So if you're playing this
Okay.
2-player, I feel like this is a good 2-player game. I will admit, playing it by myself, it is a little hard to keep track of both of them, but the combat is fairly simple but I'm early in the game. I don't know how far the combat goes or how difficult it's going to get later on. This game is very talky. This is not a Craig game. Craig, doesn't like
Yeah.
all the talking. This is
Uh-uh.
not that game. This is a lot of talking in this game, and a lot of forced walking and
Yuck.
like that kind of portion of things.
Yuck.
So it's definitely not like your type of game, Craig, for sure. I'm more or less interested in like the puzzle mechanics they can do with this, because this is that kind of It Takes Two type of
Okay.
game where each controller or each person is controlling a different part of essentially the combat in the game. So but It Takes Two is different because you need two people to play it, where
So it's like
Bayon-
Brothers.
yes, brothers, that's a yeah that,
Yeah.
that's a better comparison there. Like overall, I do like the Bayonetta flair it has on it. Like Saritza is very young, very naive, like daughter type thing. It definitely seems to get into the lore as well
Oh
of
God.
like for Bayonetta. Like there's definitely some parts where you're like, okay, like this is stuff that happened in one, they're rehashing that and like trying to connect the dots. So I want to see how it continues like to connect to the future Bayonetta game series. It's just that
Okay.
like the game is very easy to play, other than the fact that I feel like I have to have iguana like eyeballs, like keeping track of both of the characters at
Yeah.
two different places. I This isn't going to be a game for everybody. Like just straight up, it's not going to be. People are going to be like, this game's boring and that kind of thing. I played it and I'm okay with it. I'm mixed for sure, but I want to keep playing it because I like the Bayonetta franchise, which I feel like is what they're trying to do here. They're probably just trying to capitalize on me, is what it feels like. So
just you specifically?
yeah,
One
just
person?
me
Yeah.
specifically. Yeah, so
It's a
just
Barry game.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, everything you said, I was like, I was not that interested in this game, and after everything you said, I'm definitely not interested. But who knows? Maybe it'll work out for you.
I don't know. I might play the demo just to see. Does
It
it look
doesn't
like
hurt
it's
to play
gonna?
the demo.
Yeah,
Does
true.
it look
Doesn't
like it's
hurt to
gonna
play it.
have depth? Is it gonna have depth? Does it look like that? Do you see a roadmap? Is what I'm saying. Does it like
I
look promising?
I think so. Like I like the puzzle portion that this game,
Okay.
like the potential it has for it, because there are certain parts in the game where you can't have them too far away from each other, and they both have to
Okay.
take different paths. So a lot of the times it's about, okay, Bayonetta first needs to clear a path for Cheshire, so Cheshire can then move over and clear a path for Bayonetta. So it's like
Okay.
this
Hmm.
building that I like. And if the puzzles get a bit more complicated, because there are portions where she can't like climb or jump or anything like that. So Cheshire is stuffed in the little cat doll, and Ceresa just throws it up on a ledge, and then the cat will then break out of its doll form and continue moving around. So I
Like a
like
Pokeball.
exactly. I like the little bit of puzzle pieces that are
Okay.
here. I just want
Okay.
them to I just want them to hopefully expand it a bit more with maybe some tougher puzzles or something like that.
Like Scorn Tough.
Nothing is worse than the Scorn first level
Oh
toughness.
my God.
Nothing will ever.
Oh my
will
God, I
ever
hate
come
that
close
so
to
much.
that.
Oh,
That's
wait.
terrible.
Which is worse, Barry? I'm going to segue you. You ready?
Okay.
Which is worse? The Scorn puzzle in the first level or the first boss of Wolong?
Ooh, that is a
The oh
segue.
oh yeah, but that's easy for me. The Scorn one.
Okay.
I died to the boss in Wulong maybe 2 or 3 times, and then I beat him.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I don't know why everybody's saying it's tough.
It was
'Cause
the
it is
second form with a full life bar. Like
Yeah, that's what it
you
was.
figure out how to get past that first version of him. And I think I died to him like twice. And then I beat him and I was like, all right. And then his health bar just fills back up and I went, crap.
Yeah, like after like the second or third death for me, I can't remember how many times it took to beat it, but I know at least 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I started channeling the just don't attack.
Yeah.
I just stopped attacking him or attacked very minimally because they were forcing you
Mhm.
to just kind of learn how to do the deflect. So I was like, okay. And then it got extremely easy for me. Well, much more easier for
Yeah.
me
Yep.
when I did that. I was playing too aggressive when I started.
let me ask you this too, because I don't know if it was just me, and I haven't seen anybody else really mention it. When I got to that second form, right, and that's the one that everybody had trouble with, and this is before they really tell you in detail about using the like that, almost like a summon, right? When it fills up, you
Yeah.
hit the triangle and circle. And I had totally
Mhm.
forgot about that. And I was banging my head against the wall on the second boss. And I noticed it was full. And when I hit it, it did like the cutscene and ended the fight for me.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
I just
Yep.
beat him. And I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to actually fight his second form. I'm just supposed to use. I had no idea. I was
I
trying to
think you have
completely.
to I think
I
you
think
have
I'm
to
like
get his
halfway.
HP to a certain
Okay.
part. I
Okay.
got him 33 or like 25% left, and
Hmm.
then that bar filled up, and then I used it, and then it went straight to cutscene.
Okay. Okay.
So
Oh,
it might be the type
can
of thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, can we also talk about your companion in that fight who kept saying, get
Yeah.
behind me, I'm gonna protect you," by the way,
And then dies.
and then immediately dies.
But
Well, he
anyway, what do
was
you think
useful
about
for
the
the
game,
cat.
Barry?
The game overall, the combat has like so much going on. It's flashy and fun, and it's fast. I like
Mhm.
that about Wulong here.
Yep.
It they make it so satisfying to do like the parry type stuff and then hit people, build up your spirit so you can deal back that spirit damage to them to stagger them. Like
Mhm.
Mhm.
there is a lot many systems going on here, and I do enjoy of like everything that's going on because it all feels good. I really wish the only thing that like they would do almost is I wish they would pan the camera back out a bit more, because there are a lot of times where like I'm just trying to dodge because like there's another enemy coming up behind me, he's gonna hit me, and my
Yeah.
character, like, because I can't see far enough, like the enemy comes in and gets me in the back and I die. But it really is
Mhm.
just as simple as going and killing them and being more careful my next run. I what I do I want to say my best feature that I love about this game is the fact of like the flag feature, the morale,
Oh
where
my god, yeah.
if you're having issues with a final boss, or if you're someone who like to runs around and like complete everything, getting those flags help you in the final boss to take less damage. It's funny
Mhm.
where in the very beginning, you're like morale 4, you face a morale like 6 or 7 opponent and he kills you in 2 hits. But
Yeah.
I can be at morale 20 against the boss. He hits me and it's like, "Oh, that was nothing. That was, almost like a
Yeah.
like a slight gust of wind hit me there," and you can continue battling. So I like that they don't try to keep you, I guess, bogged up by the boss battle. If you really want to get through it, just clear out the area, get all the flags, and you are like,
You're basically
if you're still
golden.
having issues like beating the boss, you need to like reconsider your play
Yeah.
style then. Because much like how Craig mentioned, like a lot of the times now when fighting bosses, it's just as easy to wait for them to do their unblockable hit,
Yep.
do the parry the unblockable hit, stagger them, do a hit, do the, I guess, the one special move after you stagger them with that, back up and wait for it again. Like, it is a very simple, methodical thing. I like the fun of like going in there and hitting them as many times as I can and then forcing myself to do the dodge or the parry. I do like that
Yeah.
portion of things.
Hmm.
It was a little weird at first to get used to because you hear parry and I think Sekiro. So
Yeah.
the block button is LB, and I'm trying to mash block, but the blocking, the parrying isn't happening. But that's
Yeah.
because to parry, you need to press the dodge button that's B. So it's like
Yep.
Yeah.
that threw me off. It took me, I was like,
Yeah.
why am I not parrying? Like, I'm waiting and I'm not getting it. And then I finally got it after a little bit there. But overall it is a very fun Souls light game, and I think it's very beginner friendly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's most important. We get enough Souls games that are constantly trying to bury us in our own depression about how we're not good enough. It's nice to have a game that, for the most part, gives you the tools to be good enough and to continue to play the game and also feel like a badass.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
most part of like parrying, the super big moves that the bosses can do. So just overall, it is a fun game. I'm glad that it's on Game Pass because this means more people get to play it. But it's
Yep.
one of those
Yeah.
things where, you know, Soulsborne games have almost become synonymous with PlayStation because of Demon Souls. So yeah, you get Demon Souls when you're on PS5, but every other Soulsborne game ever out there is available on Xbox too.
Yeah.
So, but now Wulong is now free on Xbox. So it's kind of this. I guess it's a balance, but it's also like, you know, if you only have a PS5, it kind of sucks to hear that Xbox you can get it for free with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So,
Right.
but that's nothing new. This has been this way for a while now.
Plus, you got what's the other one coming? Life of P. Lies.
Lies of P.
Lies
of
Lies
P,
of
yeah.
yeah, that's gonna be sick.
We got that
That's gonna be
coming
good.
too. So
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if
can't
you
wait.
guys are the same way with Wulong, but like there's just an overabundance of gear drops in this game, and I find that
Yep.
99% of them I don't use and I end up selling because I go to the blacksmith and upgrade what I have, and at that point it's going to be better than almost everything that gets dropped along the way. So I feel like I'm getting a lot of gear, which I enjoy in these type of games, but I'm not using like any of it.
No, you're right. The like there was a sword I got in the first level that I used for like 3 levels. I just like upgraded it. I forget what I'm using right now. I think I'm using the spear or one of the other like longer type of weapons, but it's same thing for me. It's just a lot of drops and you're like, "Oh, I don't need this. Oh, I don't need this. Oh, I don't need this."
Once you figure out which weapons you want to use, like I'm using like the longer spear and also like the double swords that are faster. Like
sick.
once I figured out which ones I like I'm not switching ever.
Yeah.
I like beating them with the stick.
That's fair.
Of course.
I've noticed too that like this game is perfect for me to like drop in, do a level and like a side mission and then be done with it.
Mhm.
Like it's so
Yeah.
perfect. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I don't feel the need to play this game for 4 hours straight, but like that like 45-minute stretch is perfect. And then I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'll see you tomorrow. Like it feels good.
Yeah, and I guess one of the main things I guess we haven't talked about still, and I guess it's probably for good reason. The reason we don't mention the story in this game is because it's very forgettable. I
It's
couldn't
so
tell you what's
dumb.
going on.
Yeah.
You're
The
just
voice
pairing
acting is
up.
awful.
Yeah, you're just pairing up with historical Chinese Third Dynasty figures and going to beat people up. Like these characters are not memorable. You're not playing this game for the story. You're playing it
Oh,
because the
no.
combat it's fun. It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Yes. And to see what the next boss looks like.
Exactly.
That's what it is. It's
But yeah, that's all. That's all for games for me.
All right. Am I the only one who played the Resident Evil demo so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like it. I downloaded
Okay.
it.
Barry, you played Resident Evil 4 before or
No,
not?
I never have.
Craig, you've played Resident Evil 4 before?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I didn't play a lot of it, but just like the beginning.
Sure. As I guess that makes me the expert then, even though I don't want to be, but I guess I am. I have owned this game on PlayStation 2, Xbox, Oculus. I don't even know how many times I've played through this game before, but I'm constantly surprised by how good the Resident Evil games look. All of them, like 7, 8, both, all the remakes, like they just look so good. And this is by far the best Resident Evil game. Resident Evil 4 that's not like a shock to anybody. That's unanimously considered the best Resident Evil game. And seeing it remastered, and you don't get a lot in this demo, which is fine. It was enough for me to be like, all right, let me see how this looks. And then you get going, you're like, yeah, this looks incredible. Handles incredible. It's exactly what you want. I'm super pumped to play through this game. I'm interested to see when the game comes out. Resident Evil 4 originally had a hidden mechanic that people didn't realize, which was if you were using your ammo, they would intentionally drop the ammo that you needed. Or if you were getting through sections really easily, they would bump the difficulty up on you without you knowing. I forget what it was called, but it was a hidden component that they put in that game specifically. I hope it's the same in here. So as like a tidbit, like there's no need to conserve ammo. There never was, because they will drop what you need. So you don't need to be like, I only got 5 shots. Let me run around with a knife. But yeah, this demo looks phenomenal. I'm super excited to play it in a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. It's coming up quick. Yeah, I'm excited for you guys to both play it. Barry, as a first time playthrough, I think you'll have a ton of fun.
I'm excited.
The bosses are memorable. I enjoy all the bosses. And yeah, it looks like, Resident Evil 8, but it's third person, obviously. But yeah,
Mhm.
I feel so good after playing that demo. So for sure, check out that demo. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess my main
Good.
thing, just for one more thing about it, is I really hate that I'm gonna miss what sounds like the arcadiness of what the original 4 was.
Yeah,
Like the tapping to A to rapidly run. Like I've seen people like do playthroughs of
yeah.
like a certain cutscene where you're doing that stuff, or like tapping A to like stop a boulder or
Yep.
something
The
like that. So it's
QTEs
like,
were hilarious in this game.
yeah, and I really hate that I'm probably gonna miss that because this game is going to take itself so seriously with it. So, I guess I'll have to live vicariously through the videos I see on the internet. But
Yeah.
I'd really hope for a surprise where you get those callbacks to where the game can just like let loose and have fun, and
Yeah.
not all the Resident Evil games have to be super serious like we've gotten recently. Like there is a point that it can have fun.
Yeah.
Like 3 has its moments of like craziness and fun for
I
me, and
think
I just
I feel
hope
like you're
for it to
still
get
going to
there.
see that in there. I don't think they're going to completely get rid of it. I mean, the trade-off if with it looking more serious is that you don't have tank controls anymore like you
Yeah.
did in the original, which was
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah,
Just
that's
awful.
huge.
So being able to move around freely is a good trade-off, but I still think you're going to see those quick time events with the boulder and all that. I'm hoping they didn't get rid of that for sure. Cause it's a memorable thing from that game. That and like, I don't know, some of the bosses are just so memorable to me.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
And
Same
then
here.
Shadow Warrior 3, that just dropped on Game Pass. And I wanted to bring it up because I played a decent amount of it this week. Is that I don't think anybody's ever talked about Shadow Warrior ever. Like I feel like it's a series that's really just goes unnoticed. But I really enjoy this series a lot. It's kind of like it plays like Doom. It's very fast paced, with a just an obnoxious main character, like hilariously obnoxious. He's a ninja, but he's just so ridiculous. And I just enjoy, like, I love Doom, the newer Dooms. I thought they were great, but just like zipping around and like you have your guns, shooting the guns, and then when you need ammo, pulling out your sword, your katana, and cutting people up to get more ammo, just like in Doom. I just think it works so well. The stories have always been ridiculous, and like I'm all for stupid stories, just like we were talking about with Resident Evil. It doesn't have to be serious. Every game doesn't
Mhm.
need to be super serious, and it's such a nice like break from everything so serious in gaming today to play games like this. I think all three of them are on Game Pass. They were at one point. I just didn't check this week. But I just like people need, I think, to experience that game. And I was just when I was playing it, I was like, I don't remember the last time I heard anybody mention Shadow Warrior, like ever. And to me, it's a shame because I think they're very, very good games that are made for I don't think a lot of money, and they do a pretty good job.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
those
like
are the two. What?
With Shadow Warriors 3,
Mhm.
has all the games been like this kind of, and do you need to play 1 and 2 to get 3?
So you don't have to, like, when you start Shadow Warrior 3, it's gonna throw you in kind of like right at where Shadow Warrior 2 kind of, ended. The first
Mhm.
Shadow Warrior was more of a straight up first person shooter, not like a Doom style. It was just like a straight, here's your levels, go through them first person style. Whereas, 2 and 3 ended more like a Doom right around the time the Doom remaster, remakes came out. Um, but no, you don't have to play through them. You can if you want. But they do, I felt like a decent enough job at the beginning of 3 being like they throw you right in. They're like, the game starts and it's like this gigantic dragon that's like going through the sky just destroying everything, and they do a good job of being like him explaining as he's like running up the dragon to try and kill it, what happened before. So if you just want to jump in on 3, you definitely can, and you're not going to be super confused. You just don't need to take the story seriously because it's just way out there for sure.
All right, well, that's
Cool.
good to know.
Yeah.
Um, as you guys know, I only really did Fire Emblem Engage. I kind of already put my take on it in at least the last podcast, maybe even the one before when I started like the first or second chapter. The only thing I really have to say for it is it's really just a nice game to play. I found and Barry, you might do this when you play. I found a nice balance between playing and then all the stuff that you have to do in the main area while you're having your side conversations where you're building rapport with your teammates and such like that. I'm doing stuff in my home. I found there's enough time. And because I play with a wireless controller on my Switch because I basically don't like to create drift on the Joy-Cons and have to buy them like every 6 months. So I have this like wireless controller and I walk around and I just start these conversations while I'm doing it. There's certain things that you have to move around for, but there is a lot of
There's
talking.
That's one way to do it, I guess.
And I don't want anybody who's listening or watching or even the two gentlemen that I'm staring at right now to think that makes me enjoy the game less. It doesn't. For some reason, with everything that I could have been playing this week, I kept turning on my Switch, and that says something. Like normally I don't get affected to the point where I can't play an in-depth game by anything else going on in my life. But like right this week, every single day, I had a choice, and you have that moment where you're just like, what do I want to play? And I could have jumped back into Oolong, which I might need a change up, so I'll probably do this week. I could have done a load of different things, but engages me enough.
Why do we do this podcast?
It lights a fire in my soul that I just have to, just keep. I don't know how to use emblem, but anyway, I am intrigued enough by the game. I think I'm in chapter 16 or 17, and I don't want to spoil and know how many chapters there are necessarily. But I think I'm getting there. So it's a good game. I understand the polarizing. I checked Metacritic, and Metacritic has a great score. User score is terrible. Well, terrible in comparison to what it should be. I think it's like 66 or something like that. I'm the person who's rating it like an 85 or 90. It's just also a great way to get stuff done. While I do it, though, I don't know. I'm getting things done while I'm playing games. So there's something positive there.
That's such an interesting. Every time you say Engage, I just think of the handheld. Do you remember the handheld? Do you remember the Engage?
Oh, wow. The Engage vaguely.
All I remember about the
Nope.
Engage is in order to change the cartridges, it was a handheld. In order to change the cartridge, like the game, you had to take the battery out of the back because the game went underneath the battery. It was so dumb.
Oh,
But anyway, that's all I think about when you say Engage.
Well, yeah, that's all I had.
Next up is going to be movies for us. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I've only watched The Last of Us. With basketball happening,
Yes.
I pretty much have just been a basketball March Madness nerd for the last 5 days of my life. So now that basketball is almost free, we'll have to see how that
Almost.
goes.
We got March Madness coming.
Yeah, but it's not a game every day. Like, I come home and it's been
Yeah,
game.
it is. It's like every game. Well, not necessarily who you're rooting for, but it's like
Exactly,
18,000 games a day.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
that's
like
what he
I
means.
can have a game watch in a background is what I mean.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I the last 4 days I get home and I run to my TV to get to the game in time.
Yep.
And in some cases, I'm finishing up work and trying to rush through work in order to get to watch the game, whether it's to my own detriment or not.
Yep.
Regardless, it's only been The Last of Us for me, and I know the Oscars are tonight as well.
Yep.
So
The Oscars.
I'll be keeping an eye on that as well and see how many things Everything Everywhere All at Once wins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've reached the week where productivity in the workforce drops dramatically because everybody's watching March Madness while they're at work.
Yes.
Everybody mentally prepare for that. But I did watch 2 bangers this week. I took 2 good ones. I just got back from seeing Scream, which would be Scream 6, and I watched the movie Missing.
Okay. For me, it is The Last of Us as well, and then I also watched this series called School Spirits, which is on Paramount Plus.
I have that on my list. I just didn't start it yet.
Ooh, I'll tell you why you should start it.
Okay. All right. So Scream 6. Let's do that. Scream 6.
Yes.
This is the series that Barry is most in love with. He loves Scream. I'm just kidding.
Never watched Scream.
He loves to scream.
Yes.
I I only
Uh,
know Scream because of the one commercial that goes "What's
Why
That's the only reason I know
that?
Scream. It's the
I
only
feel
reason
like
I know who that is.
I feel
That's
like
from.
Scream is a good entry point, right? Because it's not really scary.
It
It's
didn't look
not.
like it
They're not.
was.
It's not
Yeah.
scary. It's definitely a very bloody whodunit.
Yes.
That's what every
Yes.
movie is for
It's
the
a
most part.
slasher, overly violent, but I just enjoy every single movie trying to figure out who Ghostface Killer is in this one. Like, and I
Exactly.
don't think
It's fun.
I've never gotten it right as far as I know with trying to
Yeah.
guess who it is. But that's the fun, right? The whole movie for me, what works so well about these movies is one, they're breaking the fourth wall all the time because every
Yeah.
movie is talking about how this is a we're in a slasher movie, so we don't trust the your friends, don't trust the new people in this movie, like all that stuff is mentioned, um even down to the fact that, like, and this isn't a spoiler, but Scream has never done an after credit scene ever, and they did in this one, so I stayed, and it's literally 3 seconds long where one of the characters goes, we don't need a end credit scene, and then it just ends. Like, to me, like, that kind of fourth wall stuff is why I like Scream. um
Yeah.
but like, I think it's crazy to me that they continue to make entertaining movies, 6 of them in, uh and they have no business being as good as they are. uh
Hmm.
Honestly, if you take away like the overabundance of gore, because there is a lot in these movies, I honestly do think, Barry, you would enjoy trying to figure out who the killer is. Like, it's so
Yeah.
much fun. I love that stuff. And this is no different. I think this one's probably my favorite out of all of them. They bring back some more people from past movies that I think is great. I love the cameos.
Oh wow. Okay.
But yeah, I it was very, very good for sure. We'll see where it ends up at the end of the year for me. But as far as where we're at right now, a couple months in, it's a very, very good movie.
I'm excited that they took everything and brought it to the Big Apple because
Yep.
that just changes up the scenery of
Yep.
where these murderings are happening.
Yep. And there is a, like, I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything, but there is a scene that they do in the New York subway that is done so incredibly well. It's insane to me how well that worked. And I was like, just watching that scene, I was like, man, they did such a good job with this. It's incredible. Just like the tension and all that, trying to figure out who's who and, like, is he on the train? Is he not on the train? It's just incredible. Just insanely well done. But missing, I wanted to talk about as well. If you remember, I don't know, it was a year or two ago, there was Searching. I don't know if you guys ever watched that movie. It was, I'm going to forget his name, but he was half of Harold and Kumar. Um, but
Oh
basically, go ahead.
no, wait, it's coming to me. Keep going.
So basically, when that movie came out, Searching, it was a movie about a father looking for his daughter, but the entire movie is done through the lens of looking at a computer screen. The entire movie. So it's him going through, like,
Okay.
Google search and whatever, trying to find his daughter. Missing is the same thing, but it has to do with a daughter whose mother and boyfriend go away for a trip and they disappear before they come home. What makes this movie work so well is, obviously, it's her trying to figure out everything that's going on. The twists I did not see coming at all. It caught me off guard. And you can't make these movies work without the actual websites and apps that exist in real life. So the fact that she's going through and she's trying to figure out where they went, so she's trying to get into their Gmail account, and then all the while, like, her Ring camera's going off at the front door, she's going through Instagram, she's going through Facebook, all this stuff. Like, having that real stuff in there makes it work. She's on a MacBook, so, like, the majority of the movie she'll have, like, her window up for FaceTime, and that's where you
Hmm.
see her, is like that reverse image of her. Yeah, like, the entire movie is done that through that point of view, and I just think that's so cool to do it that way. I'm forgetting the actress's name, but she was just in The Last of Us, the Left Behind episode, as Ellie's friend. And I
Oh
forget
wow.
her
Okay.
name, but it's her. And there's some other people in this movie as well that are recognizable, but she does such a fantastic job. Like, that's got to be a hard movie to act in, you know. trying to
Yeah.
pull that off through different, like, the camera on her MacBook, the Ring doorbell camera. She's going through live cams of different places and the acting that goes on there, using WhatsApp, all that stuff. It's so cool. Can't recommend this movie enough. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It totally caught me off guard with where it went. It starts with my mom and her boyfriend are gone and just goes from there. Like, that's your setup and it just goes. So yeah, 100% check that one out. It is streaming right now. You have to pay for it. I don't know if there's plans
Mhm.
on it, going somewhere else to stream for free, but it's one of those movies after you're done, you're like, I wish I could go back and watch that again for the first time. Like, I
Okay.
love that type of movie. So yeah, for sure, check that out.
I'll definitely keep my eye on that one. That sounds great. And
Mhm.
and it reminds me of a thriller instead of a scary movie like Unfriended, how Unfriended was
Yes.
able to
Yep.
nail. We bring up Unfriended probably every 6 to 8 months for some
Great movie.
reason. And
Yep.
yeah, and that's what they did. They were able to nail it, like,
Yep.
just on a computer screen the entire movie.
Such a cool
Um
idea.
it is. So I'll get through School Spirits and then we could talk about The Last of Us, last episode. Well, the last episode, not the
Not the
final
last
episode.
Penult-
last
pent-
episode.
The
penultimate.
last
There you
one.
go. Yep.
Thank you. Nice word. So School Spirits is currently streaming on Paramount Plus. It is about a girl who wakes up and immediately realizes that she is in the afterlife. Nobody can see and hear her. She wakes up in the school that she goes to, the high school that she goes to, and it progresses into a "who killed me" type of scenario. It had kind of a 13 Reasons Why, if you guys have ever seen that particular show based on the very popular book. But it's essentially, you suspect all the friends. There's the classic high school tropes that you have. There's the teacher that's a little weird, that pays a little bit too much attention and cares a little bit too much about his students. And then you have, as she's being dead in the school, she can obviously observe what's going on. And she had a boyfriend when she was alive who was essentially what they would call a burnout, already at this point in his life. And she kind of is observing things around her and trying to figure out how she died and, like, who was involved in it. And the kicker, which reminded me of American Horror Story season 1, was, like, she can't leave the school. She does that classic thing that Violet did in season 1, which that came out a decade and a half ago, so I don't mind spoiling, where she would try to leave the premise of where she died, and she would run and then immediately get transported back into the school's boiler room where her body was found. So, not a scary one at all. There's some small things she realizes about what she can do with the afterlife. One of the things is that everybody else who died in that school, um, also remains in that school. So she has some friends and a little of a actual support group that she goes to. There's like an afterlife support group where they all just try to talk through being dead. So that offers some great comedy as well. It's a good combination of teen angst with funny moments, slight coming of age because she can't really get any older because she's dead. But there's a definite who did it, and you're trying to figure it out the whole time. They do a good job of making everybody suspicious. Um, the actress who plays Maddie, Maddie Nears, I believe is the character's name. The actress who plays that, and her name's escaping me at this moment. She is fantastic at playing the teen angst kind of girl, and it's just a great all around flick. Or all around TV show at the moment. It's not done yet, so there's still episodes that need to get dropped. I believe they come out every Wednesday. So I recommend it, definitely, especially if you have Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I'm for sure gonna watch that.
Now, before we get into The Last of Us, have you guys been watching The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
I have not.
I was about to say, I just
Unfortunately.
wanted to ask. I feel like there's so little hype around The Mandalorian where we used to talk
Yeah.
about it every week. It just seems like for whatever reason this season, and maybe it's because of The Last of Us, like
I
just
think
no
so.
one is talking about it.
I think
So
the Last of Us hype is part of the problem. And I think, like, even after I watched the first episode of Mandalorian, I kind of, like, it was good, but I kind of sat there like, are we over the Mandalorian
that's
at
what,
this point? You know?
yeah, Yeah,
Unless
I
I mean, I'm
wonder.
gonna watch it all, and maybe we get to the point where I'm like, all right, now I'm fully invested again. But with The Last of Us looming every week, I'm just like, I'm watching The Mandalorian, but almost like a necessity. Like, I should probably watch this
Yeah.
episode. It just came out, but I'm not
Yeah.
like, this is the best thing ever for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So the second to last episode of The Last of Us.
I
Uh,
like that.
Wow.
like overall, yeah, just like an incredible episode where we get to see actress Bella Ramsey really just take a hold of the show and go at her on herself. Um, like overall, it just has so much to do with the acting around her that allows her to shine. Where the creepy priest is a creepy priest,
Yep.
Yeah.
uh, and Bella plays Ellie just so naturally. It just feels like, she's in Ellie's mind space. And you finally get to see a piece of Joel that we really haven't seen, or it's been alluded to so far, with the fact that he's kind of pseudo replaced his daughter with Ellie. Um,
Yeah.
For me, this was a big transition point to what's going to be the last episode that gets aired tonight.
Yeah.
For me, the ending is paramount here.
Yep.
Yes.
From what I've read, they say that this episode is the shortest run time out of all the other episodes, which is rare,
Interesting. Yeah.
considering a lot of the
What?
time HBO episodes tend to
Well,
be
there's not
longer
much
for the
left.
finale. Yeah, there isn't much left, but just like overall, the callbacks to the game, Troy Baker, like
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that they just gave him and it's not just like a creeper or a ticker type of um clicker, like type of role. They actually gave him like a bit of a human, and
Yep.
the fact that he gets killed in a brutal way, which was awesome too.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
I thought they mentioned that the girl who played Ellie, Ashley Birch, I believe is her name or something like that. I know it's
Ashley
Ashley.
Johnson.
Ashley
Ashley
Johnson.
Johnson.
I thought she got a role in the show too.
She
We
did.
haven't
She's
seen
in
it.
the
She
she's in
does.
the last episode.
She
Oh,
is.
okay.
Yeah.
So now I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did mention that because I thought the
Okay.
same thing. I was like, well, there's Troy. Where's Ashley? And then I saw like yesterday, she posted like, yeah, this is like, I'm in the last episode. So
Oh, good.
that's good. They deserve
Yeah.
to be in it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. It was
just
great.
Such an open episode. The set piece with the inside the restaurant was just
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
You
So good.
you get the
I
tension,
was waiting for it.
and it's funny because I got the flashbacks to a part in Last of Us Part 2 where Ellie's kind of lost her mind, and
Mhm.
it just keeps going and going and going, and then the camera starts to get bloody, and
Yep.
a part of me was like, okay, when do we get to see this dude's mangled face show
Yeah.
up? We
Yeah.
didn't get to see that, but immediately after walking out, Joel or Pedro Pascal comes out and tries to calm her down and says "baby girl," and that's the hint for everybody.
Oh
That's
my God.
that's the
It's a baby
transition. So
girl.
Yeah.
overall, just super excited for what. Hopefully they nail the ending. That's what matters now.
I like the transition they did there. Like, well, the deviation from the game, because like in the game, like Joel pulls Ellie off of her work, so to speak, for her masterpiece. Yeah. And I think it was really kind of nice because they toyed with you, and they had, for the people who didn't play the game, they had Joel seemingly looking like he was going to rescue Ellie when he went into his own, like he was going into a building, which the way they shot it made it seem like Joel was going into where she was being held captive.
Yep.
And what that allowed for a new watcher or somebody who didn't play the game was to kind of like almost see that Joel's coming to save the day again, even though Ellie's been kind of holding it down. And no, this was all Ellie. This is all Ellie. And you really got to see the anguish and the anger and just all the feelings that she's been feeling, like just throughout this entire journey. And even before, she basically unleashed all of that on that gentleman's face, which was nice to see, because like that's where we all connect. We connect with Ellie in a lot of ways, besides the fact that they're in a post-apocalyptic scenario. And that's just another way that we as viewers get to connect with Ellie. is just kind of seeing all that emotion come up at once, because sometimes, and what her and Joel do on a daily basis, they can't always do that. They're too busy watching and waiting and making sure that like they're just okay and able to move on, but it was a powerful scene.
Mhm.
And for us who played the boss battle, that was as close to the boss battle as you can get,
Yeah.
or like that was good,
Yeah, it was
so
almost identical.
yeah.
It was done so well. I was impressed. Everything with that episode was very, very close to the game, except for Joel pulling her off, which I think was a good move to not have that in here and have him show up later. Just again proves that like, no, she did all this on her own. She survived on her own. She cared for him and completely healed him. He wouldn't be alive without her. So
Yeah.
it was well done. I'm super excited for this last episode. I have complete faith that they're gonna wrap it up correctly at this point. They haven't let us down yet.
Same. No, they haven't. And all the deviations they have done have been great,
Mhm.
which is nice, especially when you're working with the writer and creator, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
The last thing that I wanted to mention that was hilarious to me, I don't know why I chuckled at this, but Joel waking up after being healed in his 50s just rocked the search party
Yeah,
himself. Like he just
he did. Yep.
like
And
just show him.
we still got the map scene, which I think was amazing in the game. So seeing that
Yeah.
in the show was awesome. Just
Yeah.
how brutal he can be when he needs to be.
Oh yeah. That was a good Joel moment there.
And we're gonna leave you with that cliffhanger here. Uh, yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying this, and I can't wait to see everybody's impressions of The Last of Us now that the series is going to be complete by the time this episode comes out. We do plan on doing an episode just on the finale. It's going to be a quick one, but I'm hoping to have it out the same time as the regular episode is out. So just keep that in mind. If you are interested, please make sure to follow our Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at High Sensitivity if you would like. We also, if you could review it on your podcast listening platform of choice, I'd also appreciate it. Everyone that continues to support us through YouTube and through the listening of the podcast, I appreciate it. 150 episodes, been doing this for 3 years, and it's just a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
fun. I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy seeing the small growth that we continue to have year over year. So, my deepest thank yous to all those that support us, and can't wait to talk to you guys next time. Should be a fun one.
See ya.
See
Bye
ya.
guys. Thank you.